Welcome to Everything But the Kitchen Dink, the podcast where we discuss all things pickleball with your hosts, Rob and Andy.
Welcome back, everybody, to Everything But the Kitchen Dink.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
In our brand new studio where the heating hasn't come on in time and we're freezing. So
we are very cold in here.
We have today just an amazing guest. We have Duper CEO, the one you've all been waiting for, Tito Machado. I hope I said that right.
You killed it, man. You killed it. That was a perfect pronunciation. Yeah.
The next however long it is, we'll be calling you Tito because obviously we're in England and you know that's what we say. But welcome. We have had a lot of requests to have somebody from Duper, so we've got the top guy.
Well, just tell us about your role in Duper and your background and how you got to this stage. Let's start with that.
Yeah, for sure. No, and as I said, guys, super excited to be here. And you know, as I said, I'm an open book. I'm as transparent as you can be. Unfortunately for my team, I talk way too much and give too much information. So fire, go for it. So no, listen, I'm a former tennis player. I came to the US to play college tennis. I am from the Canary Islands. So so I'm from Tenerife. I'm from, sunny southern Spain, or southern Spain. And yeah, man, after college, I started coaching tennis in New York, and back in the day, I got a call because I used to run out of tournaments. I got a call from this company named UTR, right, Universal Tennis Rating, who they tried to get into the pickleball side of things, and I actually left my on court job to kind of move to Silicon Valley, right? I moved to Silicon Valley. Everyone had fancy degrees from Harvard, Stanford, very smart people. I wasn't one of those, but you know what? I knew the industry in and out, So at the beginning, I had this like imposter syndrome, like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, you shouldn't be here. These people are too fancy for you. But very fast, I kind of like grew in the company, started getting there. And back in 2022, I got a call about this thing, actually 2021, got this thing call about this thing called Pickleball. Flew down to an event in PPA, Arizona, down in the south. Went there, saw the event. I saw 3,000 people having White Claws beers and playing pickleball. And it was like an instant click, guys. It was like, whoa, this is going to freaking hit. This is it. So I left my job to come and build the whole commercial side of Duper under Jill Braverman and Steve Kuhn back in the day. So left my cozy Silicon Valley job, came to Duper. I was showing and selling an idea. It was a concept. And, 3 years or 4 years later, here we are still grinding it.
So did you create Duper, or Duper was there and you came in to run it?
So Duper was an idea. It was starting. I wasn't the founder. It was Steve Kuhn, and Duper was part of Major League Pickleball. Think about it as part of Major League Pickleball. So MLP and Duper were the same company. And the whole goal was kind of like, a couple of former UTR people were coming to kind of build a similar concept, but in the pickleball space. So Jill Braverman, who was the former CEO and pro player, she used to be my boss at UTR, and Worcester, who she was the first female CEO of the WTA, also my boss at UTR. So it was almost like, hey, the sport is exploding. We have this pro tour, this league that we're gonna sell teams, and now we need to build a platform around. And of course, things have changed. It's not the same thing or project that was supposed to be, but I came in to kind of build that vision, if that makes sense.
Okay. I mean, it's almost like I don't know where to start, because we've been doing this podcast probably over 2 years, and probably on a weekly basis, we get people come up to us, or we get comments, direct messages, telling us how terrible Duper is. And, you're not Robert's favorite at the moment because he's been crushed by Duper. So the timing is...
I was actually going to ask you if you could, if there's anything you can do to just push my rating up a bit.
Yeah, I'll send you. I'll put my PayPal account here on the chat and just,
It really is a case of, where do we start? Because obviously we've been playing about 3 years and we've only known Duper. Talk to us maybe about the evolvement of how it started, and I know that we don't need to get into all the technical aspects that people don't understand, but obviously it's evolved over time, and then there was a major shift where you could lose points for winning games. So maybe just give us a bit of a timeline of how Duper's evolved over the time you've been the CEO.
Yeah, for sure. So listen, it's been an interesting ride. Okay, so when we started with Duper, we had a very dynamic rating. Okay, so the way that it works is like the spread system that we have right now, but we had connectivity added to it. So the more data that we were adding into the system, things were moving. Think about the algorithm as a living thing. Okay, that we kept feeding the data and it kept moving. The problem was that the movement could happen at any time. The more that we learn about Robert, for example, the more we learn about you, even indirectly, even if you weren't playing today, but someone of your opponents were playing and we were learning more about your opponents, there will be movement in your rating, up and down accordingly. Okay. So that was kind of like the first kind of version of Duper. Okay. In general, that's the most accurate formula that you can have, in my opinion, and actually from, we're extremely smart PhD data scientists. That's the most accurate and what we call the North Star, the true North, what we believe to be the most accurate version. Now, the problem that we had with that is that pickleball is a pretty young sport. It's not like tennis, for example, or squash, where you have 60 years worth of data points that you're able to add. Remember that everything that you started from a very young moment, it's very recent data. So there was a lot of movement, right? Because this is from, you're thinking about ground zero to where we're at that point, 1 year. So movement was happening because things were calibrating in a constant basis. The more we would learn, the more we would calibrate and so on. So in general, that rating is overall a self-solving issue because connectivity starts getting everyone on the same place and start getting people accurately rated and so on. Now, the problem is understanding it. We have a lot of players and a lot of people, even right now, that they don't fully understand how Duper works. They don't understand the movement.
We're two of them.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah. And today, I hope today we're gonna truly get it, and I think I truly think it's gonna be an aha moment for you guys.
Okay.
That movement was, people weren't used to it. It's like, hey, I woke up being a 4-1. Sorry, I went to sleep being a 4-1 and woke up and I'm a 3-9. Like F Duper. I hate them. Like they're ruining my life. So the passion has never changed. The passion about Duper has never changed. It's always stayed very, very controversial in that sense.
Yeah.
So the current ownership team at that time decided we're going to put away accuracy. Honestly, we're gonna say it's okay. We're gonna lose 10% of accuracy, but we're gonna simplify this algo and we're gonna make this a very simple ELO algorithm, kind of like chess.com. Very video gaming, very simple, which is you win, you go up, you lose, you go down, and stuff like that. The problem with that, day one, right? We had an MOP event where Ben Jones had a very bad weekend, on that MOP event, and he went from being number 1 in the world to being 15th in the world. So if you're measuring accuracy, you're kind of like, wait a second. Ben Jones having a bad tournament cannot be the 15th in the world. He's still the number 1 in the world level-wise. So we need to add some factors here. We added some factors, and we kept the winning go up, losing go down. Right? That's kind of what we get. Now, that whole winning go up, losing go down has honestly kind of created a polarized system. Okay, very polarized system, and let me explain to you why. Okay, so if you are Robert, right? If you are playing in your town, right, and you're the strongest player in your town, right, the old algo will keep rewarding you. It wasn't really a representation of your level. It was a representation of how much you were winning within your group of people that you play with, So the problem is if you're playing on a subgroup, if you are in your community and you kept winning, right, you were going to keep winning, going up. So we have players, let's say you have a group of friends, right? And the group of friends you have, all of you are 4-0, okay? All of you are 4-0. But one of you is always the one taking the win. The person in the group that usually is the one that takes the win, right?
Generally me.
So what happened is that person keeps playing with the same people, keeps winning, keeps going up, going up, going up. The person on the bottom of the group that is still very similar in level, right? Keeps going down, keeps going down, keeps going down. So now we're creating this polarized system where the people that keep winning keep going up. In theory, on the old algo, you could end up being Ben Jones level if you kept winning enough in your group, right? And if you kept losing within your group, you kept going down. So that wasn't really a representation of level, because you guys were still at, having really tight games, 11-8, 11-9, 11-11. So that was the system that was kind of punishing. We knew that was going to happen, to be honest, when we made this change, but we decided to make the change for a reset, guys. We wanted to let's go back, let's explain to people why, and let's kind of go step by step to go back into the spread model when we have enough transparency tool. So, whenever we started seeing this bipolar system, honestly, it kind of sucks, because now we have this growing pains, because we have some people that were a little inflated, and now the new system is kind of bringing those people down. Robert, I'm not saying that's you, I'm sorry, but I'm saying we have some people that maybe they weren't that actual 5.8 that they were seeing in their algorithm. Maybe they were closer to a 5.2, but the old algorithm kept rewarding them, and now we're kind of in this transition period where it's kind of bringing people back to their original level, or what we think their original level is.
Do you think that it's different in different countries? Like, for example, America, there are tournaments every day. Things are going on literally weekly. You can go and enter a tournament as many times as you want. But in the UK, obviously, we're slightly behind America, maybe a few years behind them. So do you think the algorithm still works for the UK as it might do in America, because we don't have as many tournaments here?
And I think, just to add to that, we are still in a stage, it's just starting to change, but not everybody was dupering events. So
so we have some events dupered and then other events that aren't, which causes more issues.
And then we would come up against somebody in the English Open, and they might be a 4-5 player, but because they hadn't played enough tournaments, they might be a 3-9, and they'd come in and beat everybody and win the gold. And they'd say, well, hey, look at me, I'm only a 3-9.
No, listen, guys, I think you're making a couple of great points. And I think one of the most important points is we're not a magical system. We don't know what we don't know, without having enough data. It's impossible. It's just not magical, and I know people can talk about AI and seeing you watch your backhand, how you hit your backhand and forehand. I mean, at the end of the day, competing and performance, guys, it's going to be the best metric in terms of how you perform under pressure in an event, in a league. And, at the end of the day, we are an average of the history that we have from you. That's the best way to see it. If we have 2 games from you, we have 2 games to be able to know who you are. If we have 30 games from you, we have a whole body of data to be able to average all of those scores in and know who you are. Now, this is very important because we're adding this back, okay? You mentioned this, UK and the US. One of the main reasons why we had this concept early on of connectivity was because it was like a virus kind of effect. The second that someone from the US would come into the English Open or anywhere else, it will automatically domino everything and settle everything as a baseline. We still have that on the back end, and we're going to add more of those features. We're just trying to figure out how dynamic we can be with that connectivity, because again, people care about their Duper, so we don't want movement to happen without them knowing why it's happening. So we're not going to add things moving forward without transparency, and so you can understand the movement. But yes, everything is going to level itself out. And again, this new algorithm now, it's going to put people, now with the win, go out. We have way more data points when the English Open happens to understand where people balance, where they are, where points give us a way broader story than just wins and losses, So that's what we added these things. We're adding connectivity here shortly. We're just figuring out the transparency tool now. So the second anyone from another country comes to you guys and it's like, okay, this is what a 4-5 means, automatically levels every single 4-5. But these are the kind of the growing pains that we've kind of have to endure a little bit to be able to get to the place that we're in right now, that we can make all of these decisions. And, again, it's tough because you change one thing, guys, and you saw it when we make the other change. People don't understand it. People go crazy. So it's stuff on like, when do we release these features, guys? Making sure that we're sensible to these changes and without causing, craziness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think also, look, we're not blaming DUPR for us being in the UK and there's not enough tournaments. We understand that. I think it hasn't always been sort of, we haven't always been hearing complaints about DUPR. I think what changed is when suddenly, and you'll know better when this change happened, but suddenly you could win a game and your DUPR goes down. And I think that combined with us being in the UK, but then I realized it wasn't just people in the UK complaining about it. So talk to us about the reasoning behind that, because I think that was really the start of where the negativity really ramped up for DUPR.
Yeah, listen, I think also negativity is always louder than positivity. We have a lot of people that are extremely happy, because a lot of people that were kind of like on the, remember I said the whole two polar system. We have people that were on the polar end of the system that were like, oh, actually, I'm not a 3-4. I'm always very close to the 4-0s. And almost at that 11-9, 11-9, and I'm close. I shouldn't be this low. I'm getting discriminated to play on the group because my Duper is showing me this. So those people are going back up. I think the problem that we had, guys, and I think this is the most important thing, is that we had a reward and punishment system before, right? You win, you get rewarded. You lose, you get punished, right? That's the way it was. Now, let me ask you guys something, right? Are we supposed to look for accuracy or for the ego boost? What is DUPR's kind of main goal as an organization? Because, and this is very important, right? We gain almost like, we went almost to a 75% accuracy in predictability. That's how we measure accuracy. How well can we predict how a score is going to be? And not only who's going to win, but what the score is going to be. Okay. So these are mathematical things that we're doing. The problem is that, and your case is going to be perfect, guys, not your case specifically, but the UK, you had very dominant people in the UK that they were probably winning, right? Because it's a market that is, winning, that maybe they weren't as high as, like, maybe a 5-0 in the UK wasn't a real 5-0 in the US.
That's fair. Yeah.
So the people that were on the 5-0 right there, right now, with a new algo, are going to drop. They're going to go back to where they're supposed to be because we have those data points. And that's fine. It's fine not being a 5-0, guys. I think this is the thing that we need to change the mentality. This is a representation of your level, not a reward or punishment. It's not a ranking. A ranking is I win, I get points, I go up the ladder. DUPR's mission is not to have you climb any ladder, is to, with the 30 games that we have, right? How accurately can I rate you with that information that we have?
I just got a question about, I know I'm going off script a bit, but I played in the English Nationals and my mixed partner at the time was a 4.5. Now, her reliability score was very low. I didn't really know much about her rating, but we lost a couple of games and I really suffered because of that. Is there a way, I mean, obviously that I'm not blaming DUPR for this because you work on algorithms and everything, but is there a way to sort of combat that where I don't suffer because of her rating and the way she suffered, if you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And listen, I think, Robert, I think it will be, I wish I knew about those cases specifically because I would have brought them up. I think in many different cases, when we look at those games, and we just did a series of prove us right or prove us wrong that we launched, because a lot of the movement is actually more logical than you think. You look at, it's not all about the reliability, but the expectation of that game. If you have a reliable rating, the reality is that you're not gonna go down that much because we have enough data and information about you. So it's not gonna impact you. I know a lot of people, I see this a lot. I played this weekend and I won the tournament and my DUPR went down and I look at the rating, right? And they went down to the 1,000th of a place. They went down 0.001. And right. I'm like, okay, like that's negligible information that we're showing you just honestly for engagement. Like the true numbers that really matter, guys, is the first one and the second one. Like everything else passes. It's just us giving you almost, I think, way too much transparency. I don't even think we should be showing you that. And maybe we should even change the color of red and green, because that's meaningless. It's really meaningless, guys. This is like 1,000 of a place, and this is most of the critique here. So it's this calibration, guys. This is not punishment or reward. No one is hurting you. It's like, okay, we learned this from this event. You play these opponents. We expected this. We've learned this. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that it cannot be changed in the next event. Doesn't mean that all of these different things. It's like you're adding more information, and from that information across the board, we're averaging out what your rating is.
I think that the issue that Robert had was probably a little unique in that his partner was a 4.5, but hadn't played a lot of pickleball over the past couple of years. So truly wasn't a 4.5. And I think in 2 of his games, he dropped a full half point.
Yeah. So a full point, or 1.0. I don't know what he
called
it. Yeah. For 2 games, which was a big drop for that.
And it is sort of
how reliable? How reliable were you? Let's you know what? Let's look.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% reliable.
Okay. So and what was your Duper when that happened?
I think it was 4.25ish, something like that.
And you went down to what?
I'm now 4.098. Not just from that, but just from another couple of games. But for 2 games that I lost with her, I went down nearly a full point.
Okay.
So
what do you so you mean 0.1 of a point?
No, 0.5.
0.5, yeah, but 0.5, but not a whole point. You didn't go from a 4 to a 2.
Out the 2 games, it was nearly 1 point. So it was 0.5 and 0.4 something. So 0.9, whatever.
Okay. Now, Robert, let me ask you something, and this is great information. Just
I know it's not all about me.
No, but
but these examples are great, right? Because you are in a market that is again, it's going to be more volatile than the US market, just because we have more games. So movement is gonna happen more, and it's just kind of like the part of like getting more data within your market to get more people accurate. But like, in reality, and like if you are and I don't have what you play, and maybe, but. Do you think what do you think your level is? Do you think your level is it was a 4.2, or do you think if you're looking at the US players, or do you think it's closer to the 4.0 that you are right now?
I'd say it's between 4.2 and 4.3, possibly 4.4 tops. But it's very hard to know because I don't really play in America that often. So I've played 4.0s in America, I played 4.5s, and I play fine with the 4.5s in America. So yeah, I'd say around that level.
Okay, so I think it's a great exercise, and I think we can look at you specifically your rating and look at the average, of the opponents that you're playing with. How are you performing against those opponents, and do you have more wins than losses? And we look at
the other issue was that I know that some of the people that I played, their Duper wasn't correct because they are better players than their Duper says. So then I'm getting punished again because they haven't got a true rating yet for their Duper. So some of the guys that I played were probably at the 4.5 level where the Duper was 4.0. So then I'm suffering again because they're playing at the wrong rating. And again, I'm not having a go at you, but this does happen a lot in the UK.
No, yeah, listen.
Maybe.
Here, not here in the US. Honestly, it doesn't here because we have 9 million games, in terms of data. So we in the UK is gonna be a little bit of that. And again, remember that we are not measuring you on, because again, this is a big misconception of like, on my best day I'm a 5.0, on my worst day I'm a 4.5. On the average day that I'm playing, how am I competing? So I think that's something that it's very important for people to understand, right? Connectivity fixes a lot of the things, honestly, because we need less data points, right away, because we use everything and who you're playing with, and it's a whole network effect to be able to rate you. But listen, I think we can look at those specifics, and that's what we're doing at the Check Your Rating right now, because a lot of the times now with the Check Your Rating, and the reason we're doing this, to be honest, is because like, we know that people are way more accurately rated than they feel in terms of the data that we have. So we kind of look at that and we kind of show you the whole passage, and we explain to you step by step, hey, this is why you are where you're at, and this is the data that you have, and this is what you've proven to us. So I think that's a great exercise that, Robert, we can have you, even if we can do a video outside of this podcast, going through, if you don't mind, specifically through your rating and explaining to you live why your rating is where it is with 100% reliability.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. I mean, it brings us on to something else, because after this was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we've had a lot of conversations between the two of us about, I mean, I didn't have a mixed partner before this, and then I got a mixed partner late, and I was very hesitant, and a lot of people are hesitant it's very difficult to find a good mixed partner. When you do, they end up leaving you for a better player. And so it's sort of, you don't always know who you're playing with. And it's almost like I felt, can DUPR have a rate, you have a rating for singles and for doubles. Can you have a rating for mixed doubles and gender doubles?
Yes.
Because it's such a different game. Sometimes you can lose a game heavily, your DUPR goes down, but the woman gets targeted and you might barely even touch the ball.
Yes, so we are, and this is. I love that you asked this. Okay, I am so excited about this right now. Okay. So let me listen. We have 9 million games, right? 10 actually million games right now. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking. This is a very young sport, and this is about calibration and adding as much data as we can into the system to be able to get people right and up and down. It's not a magic system, right? And now, what average of results do you think an average person in England has on DUPR?
You mean what the average rating is?
No. What average of number of games we will have for someone in England right now?
The games that they've played altogether?
Yes. How many? Like total games that they have on DUPR?
300
per person?
Yeah.
No.
More.
Well, are you talking about DUPR games?
No. I'm talking about a specific person, right? Like the average person in England, how many DUPR games do they have?
DUPR games. I mean, it could be anywhere between 10 and
300.
Yeah, or maybe even 100.
Okay, so but then that's the average person in England has 100 games under the DUPR system.
A lot of people, we would have 2 major tournaments that were DUPR'd and might not have a DUPR event in that whole time in between.
Exactly. So I think the main point actually is going to be way less. The average person that is on DUPR from England is probably has around 5 or 10 games maximum total DUPR games for that person. Okay.
I mean, we might have 50. And we've been
okay, so you guys are competitive players who know the sport, are very involved. Like, think about all this. Okay, so now, right, we have those data points, right? And let's say that the average person has those 5 to 10, right? And now we're saying we need a serious amount of data to learn from someone, right? Because we need to know how they're playing. So now you're taking away the age ratings. Now you said, actually, you know what? I'm only going to count the 2 of your games that are 50 plus. And then I'm only going to count the 2 that are women's only. So now I have 2 games on you for women's. I have 2 games for you on mix and 2 games for you on that. So we're 100% going to release the sub scores. That's how we call them. Sub scores, which is going to be what's your mix rating? How do you compete in mix, right? Okay. How do you compete in male and female? The problem is that, again, this is very important what we've done to collect data globally, to be able to have enough data points on people that we can actually do that. Because if I have 2 games of Robert in mix, and I go and tomorrow I say, from the 2 games that I have playing with the 4 or 5 player that you had, Robert, and I put a score out there and I said, actually, Robert is a 3-1 in mix, you're gonna want to kill me, because that's the data. That's the data that I have.
You already do. It's fine.
But you see what I'm saying? It's not as easy to dilute the data into all of these things. So at the beginning, to be able to collect all of these data points from different tournaments, different events, different countries, get this connectivity going, we're looking at, okay, this is the mass of data that we have for Robert. And from this mass of data with all of the results, this is what the rating is. And now, hey, we have enough information from you, gender, we're doing gender, so we're doing mixed, male and female, right? And then we're gonna add 50 plus and 65 plus.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the age thing, because a lot of our tournaments as well, they don't get enough numbers in the tournaments,
in the smaller ones.
So we've entered 50 plus, and then they've had to merge them with the 18 pluses because they didn't have enough people. And obviously, is a 50 plus 4-0 the same as an 18 plus 4-0? Well, probably not, in my opinion.
So let me go into that real quick, okay? Because this is another one that it's a little wild for me, because I live in South Florida, okay? I play with a gentleman named Brian Levine, who was a former CEO of MLP, right? So okay, I don't wanna get his age wrong, but let's say that he's around 30 years older than me, okay?
Yeah.
He's a 5'0", and I'm a 5'0", more or less. He beats me every single time. So you're gonna tell me that me at 32 and Brian are different ages? So what do I do with Brian then? If his level, there are 5'0s at 60 that exist, guys. They exist.
No, I think what the problems we've encountered is that we've gone to a small tournament, and it might not have been merged. It might just be an open age, and we want to push ourselves. We want to play against these 20-somethings so that we can learn to deal with bangers. But ultimately, to go through that process, we might lose 11-1 or 11-3, and our DUPR will go down, which is not really a reflection of our DUPR. So it should, we felt that it should take account that we've challenged ourselves to play somebody who was 20 and we're 50.
So on the new algorithm, right? Which is great on the new algo, this specific thing, right? Like, I think this is the great opportunity for specifically the case that you're talking about. Actually, in the old algo, I would agree with you, but in the new one, now you have the forecast tool. So if you go and play with just 20-year-olds and you know that they're supposed to beat you on the rating change, right? They're supposed to beat you 11-5, 11-5, and the score is 11-6, 11-6. You overperform. You showed us
even that we lose 4.1, and we're if they're a 4.1 and we're a 4.1, then we'll get penalized.
Yes, but I think what we're trying, and we're going to add this age ones as well, but I think what we're saying is that if you are losing against 11-1, 11-1 on the DUPR, on the overall DUPR, you're not a 4-1.
So what you're saying is that age shouldn't matter in a way. Then if you're a 5-0, you're a 5-0.
I'm saying, like, if the second that there are 5-0s that are 6 years old, that are beating 5-0s that are 30 years old, the 5-0 exists. So what, you know what I mean? That 5-0 level at 60 exists. I'm not saying that there is no differences in age, right? Like Lee Whitwell, right? She goes and plays every year to the English Open, right? She was winning MLP every single year. So she's on her 50s. I don't know exactly what her age is now. So she exists. There's like 50-something-year-old women that are above 5s, right?
Yes, these are the exception, when generally that's not the case, because a 22-year-old we may play brilliantly, but a 22-year-old will get every single thing. They'll get every lob back, and
mobility is a big thing when you're getting older.
1000%. And I think what I'm trying to say is that on your regular DUPR, right, this is supposed to be seen as a okay. So this is the best way I've been describing it. Okay, and I know you guys are right. I'm not saying that you're gonna move the same way when you are 65 than 30. I'm just saying that there is 65-year-olds that are 4-5s and they're actually beating 20-year-olds that are 6'5". So if you look at your DUPR as a representation of your level, think about it as speed, right? Think about, like, what is, if I'm going 30 miles an hour, right? Doesn't matter if I'm going 30 miles an hour as a 6-year-old or 60 miles an hour, or 30 miles an hour as a 30-year-old, right? The 30 miles an hour, it's a metric, right? It represents how fast you're going. Your DUPR, and let's forget the sub scores that we're adding. Think about your DUPR as a metric of level, right? It's what defines you. So we have a whole senior pro tour here where people are playing, and we have enough data points where we see people at all age groups compete at that level, beat 20-year-olds, beat 25-year-olds, beat all of this different stuff. To your point, we will be adding the sub scores, so you're able to see how you compete on that age group alone, right? How do you compete on the 50s bracket, for example? So we'll be adding that. But I think that's the confusing part here, that your DUPR wasn't supposed to be what your level is on your age group. It was supposed to look at, like, on a scale to 2 to 8, with all of the data that we have, where do you fall? Openly.
Yeah, I think the issue that we have is we now say, well, if it's an open age, we're not going to do it, because if we did every tournament that was open age and our DUPR ended up at 3.1, as an open age category, we would be 3.1s. I understand that. But then when we come to the English Open and we want to play at 50 plus, no mixed player is going to want to play with the 3.1 in the 4.0 category. And so people say, I know professionals say to us, forget about it, don't worry about your DUPR score. But it is critical to us. And I understand part of the problem might be for any country that's outside the US.
Yeah, and listen,
you can't do anything about that. I understand that.
It's just data. It's a self-solving issue, guys. All of this self-calibrates, but it's going to self-solve more and more the more events that we're getting and the more tournaments that we're getting. There is no, as I said, there is no magic formula. You're as good as the data that we have. Like, for example, Robert, I actually asked a team, if you don't mind, I asked a team to look exactly at your rating movement in the last couple of months. Do you mind if we go through it? I think it will be a great example, so we get a feel.
Not.
Awesome. So
you got it there,
sorry?
Have you got it there, or do you need me to get it up?
No, I have it here on message. I have it here on message. I Slack my team. Okay. I have my team here on Slack. So, okay. So
let me get the issues.
So no, I think this is great because again,
it's good because it will help our listeners to understand.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in this circumstance as well.
Exactly.
So by saying yes, Robert, you are a 4.5. That's all I want to hear.
No, so this is great. So you have, you before the algo rating, right? Before the algorithm rate, the change. Sorry. You were a 4.229, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
Since then, right, you have had a 15 record, 15 wins and 15 losses on your DUPR. Okay. That's your record. So you have won 50.7% of the games that you have played. Okay. From those games that you have played, your average partner has been a 4-1-1. That has been your average partner on DUPR, a 4-1-1. Okay, but your average opponent, your average opponent has been a 4.03.
And that's where it falls down because they might have a DUPR of that, but actually the people I've played, I've known one of them I got put into an 18 plus tournament. I got merged, and I know some of the players in that are much higher DUPRs than they have.
But that's not DUPR's fault.
No, I'm not saying that's your fault, but that reflects badly then on me because you're saying that they're a 4.069. But I know for a fact.
For sure. And I'm not saying that. Listen, I think this is a lot of the calibration that we're talking about, right? So it's not about, again, it's not about punishment or reward. It's like we have the last 15 games that you
can only work on what you've got, and I get that. Yeah,
exactly. So and actually, from those wins, from those wins that you got, right? From all of those wins that you got, you actually only went down on one of them. You went down on one of the wins, 0.003. On the other 14 wins, you went up. Actually, it was your losses on this algo change, those 15 losses, are really the ones that brought you down on the algo. I know the big winning, losing, going down is a big thing, but actually, if you look at the metrics, usually when you win, way more times you go up than you go down. But I think this is a good reflection of the calibration that is happening. And honestly, again, this is what you were saying, right? Now we need to get more of the players rated, get more events on DUPR, and it's a self-solving issue that we do. We're adding other measures, as I said. We're going to add. We're doing some big deals announced now. We have a deal with PlaySide. We have a deal we're doing a deal with Speed Division. We're doing a deal with all of the AI companies as well to give more insight into your rating. But at the end of the day, guys, we can only tell the story that we have. I understand
that. I get that. Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the app because obviously you've introduced this. We just touched on a bit earlier about you can have a look at the scores before you've even played. So how does that work?
The forecast.
How does that actually work? Is that something that's free and everyone can do it, or is it going to be a paid thing?
No, we're keeping that for free. So you look at the forecast right now, and it gives you the spread. As simple as that. It gives you what the expectation of the algorithm of what the score is going to be. So Rob and I, you and I go and play, right? And pre-match, the algorithm tells me, Robert is supposed to beat you 11-5, 11-5. So we know that the expectation pre-game, and some people are going to find this good pre-match. Some people are going to get nervous. Use it at your own discretion.
To be honest, I would never look at it because
I would. Yeah, I love it.
Because it would just, for me, it would add more pressure. And I wouldn't want to know.
I get that. I get that. And we hear a lot of people like that. I love to know because at least I know the goal. I know my goal. And I'm a very like KPI kind of like mentality. You know, I'm like, okay, like I know that I need to push here. So but it gives you a score pre-game. So again, we're gonna keep adding transparency, guys. That's the whole goal. We're adding rankings by location, by city. We're adding, as I said, we're adding the gender, we're adding the age scores as well. We're adding a bunch of all of these different things. So you guys have a full view on how your rating is calculated. Plus, we're also gonna add impact here in December, meaning you're gonna know how much a certain score is gonna impact your Duper.
Oh, right. Okay. That's good.
So you're gonna be able to see not only the expected score, but do
you think this will put people off then going and playing in the tournament if they're worried that their scores are going to go down and their expected results are going to be 11-5, 11-5, you know, against them? Do you think that'll stop people then entering a Duper tournament, or do you think?
Listen, man, I think they might, man. Honestly, I think this is the problem that we need to solve here. You know, I think this is the community.
It's almost like you're giving us too much information.
I mean, I've seen a lot of posts on socials saying
it's not true, though. It's not true. It's not true. It's fake. That's not true. I saw them. Yeah.
Okay. And you know, implying that you know that they're struggling to get players, that kind of. So you've seen all that.
So we have it. I've seen the post, but I haven't seen I haven't seen it on the scores. We've actually gotten more tournaments than ever. Every month we break the record of tournaments of the month before. More games. We break the number of tournaments entered on Duper matches. We get like 20,000 new users a week on Duper. 67% of those users get their rating in the first month. So no, we haven't seen that on the data. I mean, is there on some tournaments that? Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I think back on the day, if you were in Pennsylvania playing and you were winning every single tournament, right? And your Duper kept going up, and you know that your Duper is a little higher than it's supposed to, you might be a little more cautious. But I think the key here, guys, and I think this is a industry thing, and I am the first one here to do it, is your Duper is not your identity, guys. Your Duper doesn't define you. Your Duper is just a metric to be used on an average. And we need to culturally change the way that we're looking at our Dupers, because we are making this argument. So I'm not going to play a tournament because it's going to touch my Duper. No, I mean, as a community, the more data that we add, the more accurate that. And it's what I said before, right? I think we've created this monster where it's more about ego and I am this than average, than people.
But that is the culture. That is exactly
completely. So for us, it's been like, okay, what do we do? I mean, listen, we're looking for accuracy, so we're adding all of these things for making it more accurate. Now we're adding more transparency, so people cannot say that, well, this is inaccurate. We're giving you all of these transparency tools. So also for like kind of like, hey guys, this is all we have from you. This is the information. So I think we're trying to do all of the right things, guys. And I think we need to work as a community to change that mentality, because I can also go black boxy and not show you anything. And then you're going to be like, well, Duper is full of BS and he's giving me random numbers here.
For me, I think the UK, I think every tournament should be Dupered.
Yeah.
Because that would solve a lot of the issues.
And it's going that way.
Because at the moment, there are
problems.
tournaments that are not Dupered, and you can be playing in those, and everything needs to be Dupered. And
it does seem like the ones we did well in were not Dupered. But that and then we felt our scores weren't reliable at times. Yet it said it was 100% reliable, and I understand that's reliable from a Duper point of view, but not always from a Pickleball point of view. But what do you say to these companies? There's 2 or 3 companies out there that say, hey, look at us, we're better than Duper, your rating won't go down. And there's some pioneers out there who are waving the flag for their rating system. What do you say to these guys?
Listen, guys. I've been on the ratings world almost all my career, and I think everyone who is coming here to the sport to do good for and like help and grow and push each other is always welcome. I think at the end of the day, I think there is a lot of misinformation, guys, right? And I think like you can push the narrative that you want, but the reality is that we are the rating of Pickleball.com for eternity, by the way, of Pickleball England, of GPF, of all of the tours, of all of the institutions, and we have evergreen deals with the most of them. Forever deals. It's Pickleball.com, MLP, PPA, all of the tours. These deals are not going anywhere. These are forever deals. But most importantly is you need data, guys. As I said, you need data. You need adoption. You need people to be using it. You guys have mentioned this so well on this podcast on the problems that you have in England, right? So if you don't have, I think some of the new ratings coming to the space. I mean, I'm thinking one in particular. We have more players playing our minor league nationals next week than people on that platform and people rated. And I think, which is not a negative on them. I'm just saying, like, it's impossible to be able to get people rated without the data. The beautiful thing that we were able to do early on was get the partnership with Pickleball.com, with Swish, with Pickleball England, with all of these companies that had all of the data from like 2017 to start building a baseline and start creating ratings. And I think that's the only way to do it, and the only way to kind of like grow. As I said, it's an interesting space because I feel like it's some of these issues that you guys see it, right? Like we get kind of pushed on and attacked on all of this stuff. It's very easy to kind of like push and attack without knowing the full intricacies of, hey, we need data to be able to get this. We need players. We need to know enough about Robert to be able to give Robert the number, and we need enough information from the network, from the community, from everything else. So as I said, I think it's amazing that people are coming and pushing the envelope and pushing us and pushing everyone to be better and all of the stuff. I think whatever you do, guys, in any rating system, when you're telling anyone what their level is, it doesn't matter what about going down or going up. People are not going to be happy, unless you give them exactly the number that they want. You're not going to make everyone happy. For sure. As I said, PayPal, man. I'll put it right here.
Duper's a bit like our podcast. I mean, people have come, people have tried, but we're still here going strong. And I think Duper will probably be there for a long time to come as well.
I just wanted to say, just finishing off on the sort of the up and down of the mixed. It was funny because we talked about Robert's Duper. But I ended up playing with a blind date who I'd never played with before. Yeah. And Robert panicked me a few days before by saying, do you know you're playing with a 2.9 in a 4.0? At which point I went into a decline thinking my Duper's going to tank. And I'm lying awake at night thinking like, what am I going to do about this? And, it was fine. But when my Duper went up and I'm now a 4.2 something, it was because she was a 2.9 and we won 3, lost 2. So
you had the opposite effect.
I had the opposite effect because
you overperformed. You proved you gave us first of all, you carried someone, which the algorithm looks at who you're playing with. You carried someone into a bigger.
She wasn't a 2.9. That's the point.
That's the thing. There wasn't enough data for her.
Yeah,
she was much better than a 2.9.
And listen, this is why also the connectivity is going to be so important in the future, guys, specifically for this, because if we had connectivity added already, right, we would have learned very fast that she wasn't that level. We would have put her back into the level right away, because connectivity, think about it as a thing that is right now we have a win move rating. Imagine if we took away that component and we said it's a learn move kind of component. We would have like learned so much from her from that event, right, and gotten everyone kind of rated. Again, the problem is the dynamic aspect of that is just tough to kind of like get everyone on board, But it's a faster learn for people, right? If we only had 2 games from her on a 2.9, right? You showed that performance, you overperformed, but the connectivity kind of levels itself out completely, and those are components that we're going to add in 2026 right away. This connectivity concept. Again, we're trying to decide how do we do it in a way that is kind of like less reactive, I would say, and in a smart way to influence people rating and get people faster where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, the lady that I play with is now a 3.9.
Anyway, it's just difficult because now really the answer we've been saying is, instead of looking for a mixed partner that's 4, 4, 3, 4, 5, you want to be looking for a mixed partner that's 2.5, 2.9.
Well, really isn't.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that will change as we get more data. Just
exactly.
Just going back to the app. Are there going to be any paid features coming to the app? Because I keep hearing.
Yeah.
So, and what they're going to be.
Yeah, so listen, guys. I think we're adding a bunch of tools coming up here in 2026. We're doing a reset of the whole app. We're launching Duper 2.0. We're doing a bunch of different things. I think one of the things that is very important for people to understand as well is that I know people like to like hate, love Duper and stuff like that, but we've been offering everything for absolutely free. We've been doing this as a service to the community in many ways, and we're not a cheap company, guys. Okay, we have 50 people on staff. We're a global company doing all of these different services, and we have college kid sponsorships. We promote veterans. We donate so much cash to different causes to be able to grow pickleball globally. We work with federations. We promote. We help the English Open from the beginning, and we work with so many of these groups all over the world. And I feel like that's another component which is important. It's like, we've been an OG helping the pickleball community. So yes, we're looking on the different monetization avenues. Never an expensive amount, but just thinking, hey, what can we put behind the paywall? We're looking at first of all, we're really focused on the verified events aspect right now, which means that we're gonna be able to verify who you are with an ID, with an account, and play verified tournaments where we know what your identity. The reason why we're doing this is because we have certain characters that will create a second account and add fake scores into their Duper to be able to do it.
Yeah, we've heard of experiences where people are manufacturing, they're deleting their accounts, setting up new ones, or playing rec games and all organizing their own scores and uploading them. Like, how do you combat that? And I assume
verified accounts. Yeah, verification accounts. So what we're gonna do here is that we're gonna verify your identity. So that's what you're gonna have to be able to play official tournaments. An official, like if you want to play in an official tournament, you need to be verified. And that's we're adding all of this technology behind it. We're gonna do phone verification, email verification, and even ID checkup on the organizer, so they're able to know who you are, because we are an official rating that counts for your professional tour. We're adding all of those layers. We're also taking away the self-posted games unless you're verified, guys. Okay. Or unless you're verified. And the reason we're doing this is, honestly, it pains me, to be honest with you guys, because one of the main things I always wanted is I always saw pickleball as a very, for the people sport. We play at the park, we organize ourselves, we put the nets, we bring the balls, we do all of these things. I wanted to have accessibility to the rating for everyone. The problem is, man, that you can't because there's a couple of people, there's a bad actor.
Problem.
What about adding a dating to the app? You know how many times you know how many times we get that, man. We spoke to Tinder a year ago, man. We spoke to Tinder a year ago, and we spoke to Bumble like 2 years ago or something like that. I'm not going out with less than a 4.5.
Also, I mean, we're both married, but obviously I'm happy for people to do that. But people are not going to want their activity in the bedroom rated, are they?
I mean, I'm a 2.0 on that side, so I don't know, man. I definitely don't want. No. Listen, we've spoken about that, and again, we've taken a little bit of the side of we partner, guys. We're a partnership company. We have over 200 platform partners. So if there is a dating app who's doing something, we will partner with them to put Duper there. But we're a utility, guys. So that's why it's also, I think it's going to be very tough to compete with us in any way, just because we went to the core reserve, the pickleball tournaments, the pickleball den, all of the events and organizational tools. We said, we're not going to compete with you guys. Here you have our technology for free. For tournament organizers, for event organizers, we'll just put Duper there exclusively. And that's kind of like the route we've gone.
Okay.
you have any more questions?
Good. Yeah. I just read a post recently that you're going to start charging for people to look up other people in general, because that's something we do all the time. But you're not going to do that. No, that was for
No, so I think if you look at I think there was a couple, I think we have paywalls that we've been adding on different places, and we're just adding a couple of paywalls here and there, and it's honestly, I think we're relaunching our app coming next year, because I think there is a legacy app that sometimes you touch something, you touch some other things, you play here and things up, but I think someone got a paywall on the search and put that on Facebook, but if you go on search right now, you can search anyone you want. So I think just again, there is again, we are a legacy app. We're working, we're rebranding and relaunching the whole app into the Pickleball space. And listen, guys, the truth is that we're gonna charge for some features in the future, because we need to pay our staff, we need to pay for the tournaments, the events. So we need to, we're not a non-profit. Actually, we are a loss profit. No, but but we need to figure out how to monetize the consumer, because we're giving more service. We're giving the rating, we have an insane data team, guys. You have an elite PhD person behind our algorithm. We have someone who was running algorithms for Goldman Sachs, looking at our connectivity algorithm. These are not cheap assets, guys.
I understand. I understand. But when people, you've done an amazing job of explaining it, but before that, people don't understand until you explain it. And then when people don't understand, and then it's about ego, and then their own personal problems with DUPR, and then you start hearing rumors that you're gonna have to pay for this and pay for that. I think without the explanation, it just feeds into more negativity. And it's great that you're out there explaining, and that's really important.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you and your time coming on to explain it to our listeners, because there are a lot of people out there that don't understand how the algorithm works. So it will be very beneficial to them to listen to this as well. Do you have anything else?
No, I mean, honestly, I could go on for days, but I appreciate your time, and I would like to think that maybe when new elements come out, maybe a year down the line, or
we'll
before,
get you back on.
Guys, whenever you guys want to, guys, whenever you have a question, if you ever want to go into, hey, someone heard this movement, let's go at a fast pod and go into someone's rating and explain to us, guys. We have many things to learn, many things that we can do better, and many things that we're listening, but guys, we're listening. Trust me, I am obsessed. I read every Reddit, every Facebook, everything. I give my phone number to absolutely everyone in the world, and anyone can call me, and I'm accessible. This is a passion, guys, and you guys can reach out to me whenever you guys want. And honestly, I'll give you my cell phone, and if you have any question, call me. And at any time, I'm here, guys. Okay,
I'll just read some of the texts that Robert's been sending me since his DUPR.
Love it. I told you, Robert. I'll send you my PayPal, bro. We'll fix it. Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.